My hands are shaking as I record this message, and I do not know if anyone will ever hear it. Alarms are screaming through every corridor of my ship. Smoke is pouring from a cracked panel near my feet. Behind me, on the main screen, I can still see the fire spreading across what used to be the greatest fleet ever built. My name is Daniel, and 3 hours ago, I was one of 900 pilots sent to end humanity. Now I am the only one still breathing. We were not soldiers who feared this mission. We were the pride of our people, chosen from 100 worlds, trained since childhood for exactly this moment. Our leaders told us humanity was young, weak, and scattered across a handful of dusty planets. They told us this would be over before it truly began. I believed them. Every pilot in my wing believed them. We laughed about it in the mess hall the night before we crossed into human space, joking about who would fire the first shot and who would be remembered as a hero when we returned. I remember the moment our ships entered their system. I expected chaos. I expected warning signals, panicked voices, ships scrambling in every direction like frightened animals. Instead, there was nothing, just silence, and a calm, cold stillness that made the hair on my arms stand up. My friend Peter, flying beside me, said something that stuck with me long after his voice went quiet forever. He said it felt like walking into a room where someone was already waiting for you in the dark. I told him he was letting his nerves get the better of him. I told him humanity did not even know we were coming. I was wrong about almost everything that day, but I was never more wrong than in that moment. A single human ship appeared on our scanners, small and simple compared to our warships. It did not retreat. It did not send a message asking for peace. It turned directly toward our formation and moved forward with a speed that should not have been possible for a vessel that size. Our commander laughed over the open channel and ordered a group of our smaller ships to intercept it, calling it an easy first victory to open our campaign. Those ships did not report back. In the space of a few short seconds, they simply vanished from our screens, as if they had never existed at all. That was when the fighting truly began, and it did not resemble anything we had trained for. This was not a battle between two armies testing each other's strength. It was something else entirely, something that felt less like war and more like being hunted. Human ships did not scatter to protect their homes or their people. They moved together, with total focus, straight toward us, as if they had already decided exactly how this would end before we ever arrived. Within the first hour, I watched one of our largest ships, a vessel that had once ended conflicts across entire star systems on its own, come apart in a burst of light that lit up half the sky. My friend Grace, whose voice I had heard every morning for 3 years, over our shared communication line, went silent in the middle of a sentence. I called her name over and over, but there was nothing left to answer. I want you to understand something important. I am not telling you this story to make humanity sound cruel or without mercy. If anything, that is what frightened me the most. There was no anger in the way they fought. There was no hatred, no desire for revenge, nothing personal in it at all. They moved with the same calm focus a person might use to clear weeds from a garden, quietly and completely, without ever raising their voice. That kind of calm is far more frightening than rage could ever be. By the second hour, I stopped trying to understand their strategy and simply tried to survive. I watched formations that had never once broken in 300 years of history fall apart in minutes. I watched one of their smallest ships, a scouting vessel meant only for gathering information, disable one of our largest warships, and then calmly move on to its next target, as if what it had just done meant nothing at all to it. I kept waiting for a message. Some kind of warning, a demand, anything that would explain why this was happening the way it was happening. It never came. They did not need to explain themselves to us. They simply continued, target after target, with the same unshaken focus from the very first second to the very last. I do not know why my ship was the one that survived. I have asked myself this question more times than I can count in the hours since it happened, and I still do not have an answer that satisfies me. Sometime near the end of the battle, my ship lost power to its main engine, and I began drifting sideways, completely helpless, waiting for the moment my life would end, like everyone else's around me. A human ship passed close enough that I could see its outline clearly through my damaged window. For a moment, it seemed to slow down. Then it turned away and continued toward another target, leaving me untouched and drifting in silence. I do not believe that was kindness. I believe it was something closer to a choice, a decision that someone needed to survive this and carry the story home, so that no one else would ever need to see it with their own eyes to understand it. That thought terrifies me more than anything else that happened that day. When my engines finally responded again, I pulled away from what remained of our fleet. I did not look back at first, because I already knew what I would see, and I was not ready to see it clearly. When I finally forced myself to check my instruments one last time before entering the jump that brought me home, the numbers on my screen told a story I still cannot fully accept. 900 ships had entered that system with confidence and pride. Fewer than 40 were still moving when I left, and none of them were in any condition to continue fighting. I think about Peter's words often now, about walking into a room where someone was already waiting for you in the dark. I understand what he meant now, in a way I wish I never had to learn. We arrived believing we were stepping into an easy victory over a weaker people. Instead, we discovered a strength that had been waiting quietly, patiently, for anyone foolish enough to test it. I have replayed every moment of that day more times than I can count, searching for something I could have done differently, some warning sign I should have noticed earlier, some choice that might have saved even one more life. I have found nothing. This was not a battle we lost through weakness or poor planning. It was a battle we were never capable of winning, no matter how many ships we brought, or how much confidence we carried into it. I am recording this message, not as a hero returning with a victory to celebrate, but as a witness, carrying a warning that I hope with everything in me will actually be heard. Do not send another fleet after this one. Do not believe that greater numbers or greater pride will change what happened here today. There is no honor left to reclaim, and there is no defeat here that can be avenged through more fighting. There is only a species that has shown us, calmly and without hesitation, exactly what they are capable of when they decide it is necessary. And I do not believe we have seen the full extent of it. I was trained my entire life to be among the strongest pilots our people had ever produced. I flew beside friends I had known since childhood, people I trusted with my life every single day. I watched every one of them disappear from my screen within the span of a few short hours, and I could do nothing to stop any of it from happening. I did not return home carrying pride. I returned carrying a warning, and I hope, more than I have ever hoped for anything else in my life, that the people who hear this message choose to listen carefully before deciding what happens next. If you are hearing this, then I made it back. That is all I can offer you. I made it back, and I am telling you clearly and honestly, do not go back there. Whatever pride or anger pushes anyone to consider it, let it go. There is nothing waiting on the other side of that decision, except the same silence I flew through today, and I do not wish that silence on anyone else who might still believe, the way I once did, that we were the strongest thing in the sky.